I'm going to take my seat here. First off, what we're going to do is I'd like each one of you gentlemen, starting from my left to my right, please introduce yourself. Give yourself a 30-second commercial. I will be timing you on the 30 seconds, however. And then tell us about yourself and what you do.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marios Kosma. I'm a director in Trepidis & Co. We are an advisory firm. I believe majority of you know of us, so there's no reason to go for further commercials.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kostas Konstantinidis. I'm a director of 360 Consulting, a specialized consultancy on licensing internationally, as well as a director in Boudica Group, which is our fiduciary arm.
Hello, everybody. I am Angelos Pafitis. I am a lawyer, and I'm a director of AGP Law Firm, representing our firm's advisory services department in this expo. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Marios Lazaru. I'm a partner of KPMG. I'm heading the financial risk management advisory services in KPMG Cyprus, who's the main advisory unit for investment firms.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Alexandros Konstantinou from MAPS Pladis. I'm the head of compliance and regulatory research. MAPS Pladis is a regulatory consultant company focused entirely on financial services institutions. We have services from A to Z with respect to financial services, from corporate services to regulation consultancy to taxation and accounting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tal Yitzhak Ron. I'm the chairman of Tal Ron Driam & Co. We're a fully licensed law firm based in Israel with offices in Larnaca, in Limassol, Hong Kong, and British Anguilla. And we give full legal coverage for FX and binary ventures.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. So basically how I want this work, I have 6 questions. And so the audience knows, full transparency, right? We're all legal guys in one way or another. I'm a marketing dork, so I do apologize. Full transparency, I have 6 questions. We have 1 hour. 6 questions should not take 1 hour. Feel free to answer the ones that you'd like, reiterate to the others, add points or detract points from each other's conversations. This is a conversation piece. Think of there's another chair up here. That is these folks sitting out here. These folks sitting out here, if you have any questions at any time, please ask. We'll have someone out into the audience with the microphone. You are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th panel member. Okay, please keep that in mind. Interaction is great. This is a very sensitive topic at this time. We're going to speak about Cypriot regulation. Yes, in light of recent events, things have changed. Things maybe not have changed, and I would like you to address it. So, first off, Cyprus. Cyprus is a hub of Forex. Yes, we would all agree to this. Yes, of course. I would say just the caliber of the folks that have been up on stage in the other panels throughout the day, representing the largest platforms and service providers in the world. I'd say Cyprus is definitely on the map for FX. So, how? And why? What were some of the things that came about to make Cyprus as a hub? Let's remind everybody.
Well, if I may start, please. I believe Cyprus, one good incentive that started this trend of FX brokerage companies coming over to Cyprus is tax. Cyprus is a well-known jurisdiction of its low tax. This means that gives
corporate tax, yes, the 10% corporate tax,
which is now is 12.5 now. So you have low tax on incomes, okay? And then, as you may know, most shareholders of Forex companies might not be residents in Cyprus, so dividends distributed are done so with 0 tax. Okay, so this is an additional advantage. Then, in addition to tax, Cyprus has always been a good jurisdiction on offering quality professional services. It has been the whole setup of Cyprus to do an international business center. Initially, this was the idea some years ago, okay, to do a good business center. This is what promoted Cyprus mostly. All advantage that have in turn came up more and more and more. Companies have been interested in coming over to Cyprus to set up their headquarters.
Okay.
I'd like to.
Yes, I would slightly disagree with Angelos. Allow me
Nice,
to
right
do
off
so.
the bat.
I like that.
Tax, indeed, it's a very important matter about FX and the reason why it has been so successful. But I think we have to look a bit deeper and see where all it started and how it started, and then we'll be able to understand why Cyprus became a hub for FX and binary options at the moment. So I will very briefly describe you the story on how FX developed in Cyprus, and in this way you'll be able to understand better our matter. Forex, before MiFID, for those of you who don't know what is MiFID, is a pan-European regulation that governs all investment firms, including FX companies and now binary options. So before MiFID, there was in Cyprus, there was 2, 3, what I can count, if I can count correctly, FX brokers the way we see them today. And MiFID came into force late 2007, by the way. So before MiFID, those brokers were having a license by SISEC, but under the older legislation. When MiFID came out, SISEC sent a letter to those brokers and told them, look, you have to stop doing rolling spot Forex, basically, what they are doing now. Then this was actually a wrong decision by SISEC, because major regulators in Europe, for example, FCA back then, now FCA, had this instrument regulated. So those companies who got these letters came to us, and they told us to help them to sort this issue out. SISEC at the beginning was very negative about it. Then we, with our associates, we went to FSA, got the regulation, showed them the examples. We proceeded with a registration of a plain investment firm and proved to SISEC that an FX company is a plain investment firm like any other, and the MiFID regulation can be applied to it. And from then, that moment, SISEC accepted the FX business in Cyprus. Then they issued the announcement about regulating FX in June 2009, and that was the landmark for the growth in Cyprus, where everybody saw it. They recognized the benefits of Cyprus, especially the people from the region, because most of the FX companies in Cyprus come from Israel, the CIS countries, and the Middle East. And Cyprus is a very, very good vehicle for them to expand due to the proximity, plus the other benefits that my colleague mentioned. And this was basically the start of FX.
So
When
the start of
everybody
FX,
discovered-
basically what you're saying in shorter,
Yes.
start of FX was because your firm helped SISEC understand the importance of the FX industry, that it can be regulated. Let's
we
go.
were one of the key reasons for that.
Awesome.
Yes,
Sweet.
but
Allow me to disagree.
this is
Sorry, allow me to, just a moment, allow me to disagree, because I think it's not exactly correct. This is the half-truth.
Okay.
Because in the audience, I can see people here that they were regulated FX companies well before SISEC appeared. And they had been offering their services since 1992, if I'm correct, which I was just finishing Collier University, so now you know my age.
Okay.
Back then, it was Central Bank of Cyprus regulating it. And it was regulated up to 2001 when SISEC and the law the new law about investment firms have been implemented in Cyprus. which was not in accordance with MiFID. It was an investment firm law of Cyprus. And still these companies have been regulated because the product offered, the CFD, was always there and was always available. It just, people were not calling it CFD, were selling lots. So nothing changed. It just developed. And MiFID was a continuation of what was existing. Companies did not first register FSFX in 2007, as most of people think. It was registered since 1992, even before that. And it's not the experience of one office. It's the experience of a lot of offices that maintain this business.
Okay,
And
so
the
they were
reason-
here before. Oh, the reason. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And the reason for that is because they had the experience, they had the legal background, they had the know-how, and they had the ambition, and also the motive to create Cyprus as a financial center.
But mostly because of the tax and the.
The
Tax-free
tax
dividend.
was an initiative. It was
Okay.
a good initiative.
It's a good initiative. I would.
The second is that ask me one of your clients, any of the clients of FX companies or binary that will deposit money into a company that is not regulated, how long that will last.
Okay, and we'll
So you
bring
need-
this up in a little bit,
So
actually.
going forward and going to regulation developing, and the banks asking for regulated companies to have clients' accounts, and this makes the business developed.
Okay, so next question. So
Jason, before you go to the next question, just very quickly.
okay, quickly.
Agreeing with my fellow Marios here and building on to the matter, I want to conclude and clarify a bit the picture. Number one, MiFID introduction on the level of European members, and then that being transposed into legislation, was a smooth transition for the previously existing forex firms here doing very well, dealing with the central bank or even dealing with SISEC, with the licenses they've had for trading derivatives. And MiFID, the implementation of it into law, 2007, 8, etc., meant a soft transition of certain parameters and details for the existing ones, and certain new forms and parameters and paperwork coming out for the new entrants. And it was more interesting for the global market to know, okay, the MiFID concept, the MiFID directive of the whole of Europe is now reality in law in Cyprus. And lastly, the second point, because I said point number one and point number two, I can even, because here we are quite legally natured individuals and advisories, I would like to be fair that three very interesting, remarkable firms that were previously mentioned that pre-existed with licenses in Cyprus before the introduction of MiFID. It's a bit unfair to say, to speak what they did left and right and center. I can actually stare in the eyes from here amongst you gentlemen, the gentleman who made two of those three licenses and dealt with them and carried them over and helped them to move into MiFID, etc. It's a bit unfair to try to tell you that, we had them in each one of our portfolios.
No, this
Yeah,
is
so I
not
would like
what our
to clarify
discussion's
that last
about. I
point.
want to know the key drivers of why. So MiFID, I heard. Yes. Tax, I heard.
Yes.
Yeah, regulated body, I heard. And from KPMG?
Yes, I think the fact that Cyprus became a member of the European Union in 2008, together with the fact that SISEC explicitly wanted to regulate this, attracted the companies that were operating without a license and wanted to win this legitimacy.
So they
to be
roped up a bunch
licensed.
of cowboys, brought them in, and said, now
Not-
you're going to be regulated.
Not
No?
cowboys.
Okay.
For example, in Israel, these companies were not regulated. They wanted the regulation. They wanted access to European Union to provide cross-border services all over EU,
Okay.
which can be very strange in this thing. And Cyprus is next to Israel. That's why we have so many.
Geographic
We can provide all of these benefits.
Let's talk to the Israeli down here. Tal.
Yeah, the Israeli, the Tel Avivian.
You are the independent opinion here.
Also, you know the secret. Yeah, also a citizen of West Germany, so also European as well. I think that this gentleman said many of the factors regarding us in Israeli eyes. These are two countries who are very close. 40, 45 minutes of a plane ride. Cyprus is part of the European Union, and people who tend to have the dilemma if to work with an offshore jurisdiction which is unregulated, or to go on the fully license of the FSA, currently FCA, the alternative of Cyprus was reasonable for many reasons, also because of the similarity between our cultures. In the Israeli and the Cypriot, we are not that far away geographically.
Because you don't know how to make a line.
Yeah, we know how to make the line, exactly. And it was competitively priced, okay? If in Cyprus you will need to pay like 200,000 euros for the most popular license to put a deposit and to show your source of fund and that you have these funds, in Great Britain it's sometimes 5 times more. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's a large difference. And if you do the SISEC license, and at the end of the day, you get an FSA registration number, and you can put like eToro in your website that, you put very small that you have a SISEC license, but a very long list of 10 or 15 jurisdictions that you so-called have a registration number, it has a tremendous value.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so I just want to talk, just moving on to the next question. We had the chairman of SISEC here yesterday. I was actually very, very pleased. I mean, she came, made an effort to, she didn't take questions, and she was very scripted in what she said, and it was very much a press release, but she made a point to be here, and I was very impressed with that. She did say something towards the end. They are changing some things in their regulation, yes? She alluded to it, and I kind of want to talk about that. So that means that the SISEC, which is a relatively new regulatory body, correct? It's what, 2007? Is this what I heard?
No,
It's before.
for that 2001.
2001. Okay, I'm still listening to music from 1998, so it's not that long. So it's evolving. And I want to talk about that. Is it evolving to be more in line with the stringent bodies, such as the FSA?
I think it will be unfair to compare these two.
Okay.
First, because of the reason that you said before, SISEC has only 10 years of life, whereas FSA is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, financial services center in the world. I don't think the aim is that. I think currently the stance of the SISEC is, yes, to regulate FX companies, which are within the scope of investment firms, of course, but at the same time to be commercially attractive to them.
Okay, I'm looking.
Jason,
really for.
let's see it from the other side. FSA recognizes SISEC. FCA recognizes SISEC. SISEC recognizes FSA. This is not to be disputed. It's not a matter of dispute.
I guess I'm leading you down the wrong road.
Let's 1 minute. It's if SISEC is recognized, so the regulation is the same. You cannot compare two things that are not the same. SISEC is regulating specific things. FSA is under FSA is everything.
Okay.
So two different bodies is like comparing a small company offering reception and transmission of one financial instrument and a huge investment bank offering everything. So it's not two, but the two bodies respect and.
That's not what I was talking about. I guess I'm just going to say it. FSA, they fine everybody. In SISEC, seems to be finding a lot of people. In the last press release I saw out of SISEC, besides the one that they were going to help people with that had client money in their accounts, yada, 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 was do what you're supposed to do, we're going to fine you. If you don't, we're SISEC, we don't have to say anything more. Accept it. This is more in line with what the FSA does. Are they moving in that more of a line? Yes or no?
That's how it should be, isn't it?
I don't know good, bad, and different.
You are
I'm
a
just asking.
regulatory authority. You are supposed to do that anyway.
Okay.
So,
From a marketing aspect, I absolutely agree. I say,
Marketing.
from a marketing aspect, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you get fined. Period. That makes everybody do the right thing, but I'm American, it's a little different.
But at the end of the day, you need to see, is your business done? Do you have the regulation? Do you have the EU regulation? The first. The second, is it equivalent? It is.
Okay.
The third, are they moving towards that line? They are moving, but as Dimitra said yesterday, they are working in order to save clients' funds, which other jurisdictions, I won't refer to any of them, may have said the law says ABC, and that's it. So is CySEC flexible? It is. So is that the reason that Cyprus is becoming an FX center, an investment firm center? Because not only FX or binary. It's not the majority of the investment firms, although some,
So they're
that's what they
stringent
say.
but flexible.
They have to follow the rules. They have to follow the law. The law is there for interpretation. We have common law.
Okay.
It's common law in UK, common law in Cyprus. If there is a case, then they can implement the case. So it's a
So it's a good news story. They're not following the FSA.
And it's a user-friendly organization.
Okay, user.
It's a-
Yes, she was here. She was a nice
you
lady.
see.
She was sat
Nice
in a
young
chair.
lady, yeah.
It has definitely become much better than previous committees and committees.
Okay. Any questions?
In all sense.
I got a
What-
question right up here. Go ahead. Give him a mic. Wow, I didn't realize how full the room was.
We are honored.
It's not a question, actually. It's a comment on the past question and this existing question. My name is Johnny Aboita. I'm the managing director of Windsor Brokers, which is the first company to be licensed in Cyprus.
25 years, yes?
25 years, 1988. So it's not 1991, 92, whatever it is, 1988. It was regulated by the Central Bank of Cyprus, and after that with CySEC. Why Cyprus? Number one, geographical area, right? I am a Palestinian coming from an Arab region. My target is the Arab countries, right? When I approached the surrounding Arab countries, there was no regulations anywhere. Not in Lebanon, not in Syria, not in Jordan, not in Egypt, not in Dubai. So of course, the doors were open in Cyprus. This is where I was regulated. It's close to all the area around us. I was able to travel from here. And I love this country, the sun, it's a holiday country, it's a beautiful country. And then comes the taxes and other things. Why other companies came over? Many of the companies came unregulated. There was a gray area here in Cyprus for many years. Right? So many companies from the Middle East, from Israel, came without any regulations. They came to Cyprus. They were working here for a number of years. And after that, with the help of all the gentlemen up there, CySEC issued the regulation for FX. And they became regulated. Cyprus became more popular, not only because we have loose regulations, but again because of the geographical area. Next is the taxation. We have very high caliber here in Cyprus. The services are top quality. Infrastructure in terms of communication is excellent. Flying from here to anywhere in the Middle East is perfect. Flying from here to the Far East is excellent. Flying from here to Europe is excellent as well. So you have all these in one place, and at the end you have the friendly Cypriot hospitality.
Thank
and the beautiful weather.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, perfect. You should have just came up there and interrupted. Let's talk about the crisis. Sorry, got to.
Let me
It's the
add
elephant in the room.
something that I think is important we didn't say on your last topic about the fines.
Okay.
Yes. Fines are good.
Depends on who's
Yes.
being fined.
As long as they are done in the proper way, and the reasons of the fine must be for the right reason, right? The fine. CySEC is being pressured, I can say, from the European Commission and other regulators in the EU, because they see that there is an increase in investment firms, and some of them, they are being very, very aggressive, especially in their marketing. So before 2 years, I would say, there hasn't been a lot of fines. But since the growth of FX, and we all know that FX sometimes, especially newcomers, can be very aggressive in their marketing, put pressure on CySEC to give some fines out to show that it's doing its business. There's been fines fines. There have been fines which have been for the proper reasons, but I've seen fines as well that they have been given out for the wrong reasons. So this is one very, very important thing that regulators must watch out.
But SciSec is flexible, right? I
Yes,
mean,
it's
they're not.
very flexible. It's very flexible.
Okay.
I agree. One of the most business-friendly jurisdictions in.
Oh, so I hear, see no's, yeses. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The word flexible is a very possibly not appropriate word here because SciSec implements the relevant law. The law is white and black. Based on the law, there are extra instructions that people have to abide to, regulated entities. Okay?
Okay.
And it's also a huge open subject that would need a lot of clarification if we go into the details of SciSec gave wrong fines, SciSec gave these fines, SciSec because of marketing, and that would deserve more clarification so that we're not vague to this audience here and they say, oh my God, where are we here? So law is white and black, it's clear, it's there. If there is a fine, it came from a specific point of the law, and the law is nothing hidden from the businesses. So I want to be clear on that.
Okay.
And if there is any fine that is unjustifiable, there is a legal system. Companies can go, dispute,
You can appeal,
and
dispute.
appeal on the fine. So fines are not given out lightly. The SciSec has the legal department. I think they are taking the measures. I'm not here to criticize or to be in support of SciSec, but there is the legal system that you need to follow.
Okay.
Breaking the rules, it's one thing, but following the full law and taking advantage of what the law allows you to do and what it doesn't allow you to do, it's something different. So it's not where we want to drive SciSec to go, or not only SciSec, Cyprus as a whole. It's the legal system is driving, and then there are the law firms, there are the advisory firms, there are the consulting firms that can advise you, but things are not done on experience. Things are done according to a legal system. And
Okay.
It should remain solid. If it's not solid, then you are looking for a short-term investment. You are not looking for a long-term investment, not an investment 1988 to 2013.
Okay.
To conclude on this very shortly.
Very shortly, because I need to know.
I know, I can see it in your eyes. So I'm going to conclude very shortly because Marios mentioned the very important word legal system, a proof that there is a solid legal system here from top to bottom. From the Supreme Court is that not many years ago, I believe it is a couple, it was in August, that the Supreme Court with a particular decision dismissed, the result of that decision was to dismiss the whole committee of SciSec and put the present committee in charge. So only this point shows you that during interesting years, even such a type of decision was taken that I believe brought SciSec very much forward because there was reason why that decision was taken, and today we are with the particular SciSec committee that we know.
All right. You know what? Thank you very much. That was a very good point. Now I want to talk about the crisis.
Because crisis, I'm gone.
There isn't one broker that I can think of that operates in Cyprus that's not represented by one of these gentlemen on this panel. Not one broker I can think of that is not represented by one of you. Has anybody left? Since Green Monday?
Not as far as I know.
No existing ones that I know of. Each one, of
Okay.
course, speaks of his experience without names. No existing one that is operating left. The point is, just the reputation dust. We must understand here that reputational dust, when everything is happening, is very different from the people that are here and operating. They have a different picture. Some people in process of establishing here said, oh my God, I'm not yet established here. What is all this reputational shock? I might want to keep it on hold or change my mind. We have seen this partly, but no respectable, solid business running here was unaware of the recipe to be well organized and diversified and well informed in such a way as to avoid shocks of possible big happenings like the one that happened.
All right, Tripides, I'm going to call you out. What advice did you give your brokers? You got a lot of
Patience.
them. Patience.
It's 16th of March happened, whatever happened. Now it's 31st of March. Let's not be emotional because Mediterranean people are emotional. This region is emotional. Let's not be emotional. Let's, for the first time, be cruel Central Europeans. Think
He did
what
not
is.
just say that, did he?
Think what. That's something that is correct. You have to take advantage of what they have as an advantage.
Okay.
You have to think logically. Don't take decisions quickly. You have a business. You have a business to run. Are you seeing it short term? Then you have to you can take the decision short term. But if you are seeing long term and you are seeing what it's going to do, you have to take the right move. Quick moves doesn't serve anybody.
So patience
I'm
is the
not.
word.
Yes, I'm not supporting
Anglo,
stay. I'm not
stay
supporting
calm.
away.
Stay calm,
Stay
patience.
calm.
We're here.
This is-
SciSec's good. They're friendly. We're all good. We
There are-
got the
I
infrastructure.
believe
sunshine.
everybody saw in the media worldwide that indeed everybody in Cyprus were calm. Not only people, business were calm, have remained calm after the 16th of
Okay.
March. And this is
So business as usual.
business as usual
No.
under the restrictions, yes, but there has not been panic. There has not been business of people saying we are leaving.
Let's see where the problem is. The problem is two banks. That's all. Do you think that this will be remembered in 2 years? The investors have so short memory.
Depends
I
on
think
how
it
much money
was-
you lost in one of those two bags.
But it depends how many of what the percentage. Let's go to the statistics. If you see the statistics, I
Yeah,
don't
the
think
SciSec
any
chairman
investment
mentioned it.
firm-
I mean, it was minimal at best. Is
Yes.
that correct, KPMG?
Yeah.
Yes, and we had a discussion with SciSec a couple of weeks ago, and I asked them how many they requested to leave. They said less than 10 out of the 100, approximately 40 investment firm companies to leave. So, and I would say that the biggest number of FX companies, if they didn't have any deposits in the Cyprus bank, it is like every day. It is business as usual. Clients are not in Cyprus. We don't have Cyprus clients.
If anything, it should benefit them because now they're
It
going to
is-
get a bigger talent pool from some of
Yes,
those
so-
banks. Yes.
At the end of the day, some of the FX companies, yes, they have been impacted because they had either their own money there, or their clients' money there, or they had also in other banks which had some transaction issues due to the restrictions. But at the end of the day, as the chairwoman of SciSec said, this money were not so significant to the whole amount.
But let's become more critical. There was a problem. There is a problem. We cannot say that it isn't. Everybody's there. We cannot defend something that doesn't exist. That exists. It's there. But investment firms has a function called risk management. If we are all doing, including me, our risk management, maybe we wouldn't keep money in those two banks. So where the system failed, we need to find out so that we do not follow it again. But investment firms have alternatives, can be in Cyprus and can operate from everywhere in the world, which that's the case, isn't it?
Yes, and this, I need to clarify why I'm asking these particular questions because some people may misconstrue what I'm trying to do. Cyprus is a hub. I heard 3 times the chairman of Gain Capital Group say, not yet in Cyprus. He didn't say never Cyprus. He says, maybe I'm thinking about it Cyprus, right? Gain Capital. That's pretty impressive. My point is that SciSec's here. Yes, they are being more stringent, but that's good for you guys that don't want to be cowboys. Yes? The reasons that why brokers like Windsor Brokers came here still remain. Cyprus is still open for business. Yes? So,
More than ever now.
more than ever now, the talent pool that you can pull from is going to get larger, and that this is a good thing. Now, hold on, sorry. My next question for brokers, because that's the point of this panel. This is where I wanted to steer you as panel members. I need you to ask more questions very shortly. For brokers who are interested in setting up shop as a CIF in Cyprus, because I know there are some in this audience right now. For those that are interested in setting up as a CIF, what is the procedure now? Timeline, cost, staff requirements, general procedures, client money, KYC, etc. Please help them understand what it will take now.
So Cyprus has been very resilient in this crisis with respect to what happened, and we have to also recognize the good work that happened in between to be here today and be having this successful conference. All clients' money have been secured, investment firms' money has been secured, and this is a comfort for new entrants to want to still acquire a license in Cyprus. And as it was said before, CySec now it's open for business more than ever. The procedure hasn't changed, remains the same. It's regulated, the procedure anyway. There is no much that can be done. For example, the law says that it takes up to 6 months to get a license. Of course, with a right guidance, you can minimize that time, save costs, and lead to a successful application to get your license.
Cost,
The-
Angelos.
The cost,
Wait, I want Angelos to
Yes,
answer.
it varies.
Varies.
You
So
can-
I'm a CIF that I want to be a market maker, A book, B book broker.
Look, you are talking about cost. I don't know what each
Cost of a license.
advisory consultant charges here, but as far as I can say,
Oh, yeah, you're
cost-
free, so leave that out.
cost should
The menus are on your shares.
should be in the range of 15 to 25,000 euro.
15 to 25,000 euros,
At this
6
range.
months,
Speaking of
Up to 6
disbursements,
months.
Up to
speaking
6
of
months. It's
up to
usually
6 months,
Up to 6 months.
with help, shorter, okay.
Yeah,
Staff requirements.
the same as
So
used to
if
be.
I just want I just want an office here. I don't want my sales office to be here. I want my sales office, I don't know, Bulgaria
No,
or
but
something.
before that, you need to show proof of funds.
Okay.
You should show that you have adequate funds by number. Let's say the most popular, the 200,000 euro is the most popular, and you need to show that you have actually these 200,000 euro in the bank account of the shareholder, and you need to show how did he got that money, and if he got that money from an offshore BVI company which is related to forex or binary options, that's not a good idea. So we actually need to show that he earned that 200,000 euro in a legitimate work, salaries. You need to show diplomas. You need to show that he or her. I know. I'm sure.
I hear rumbling
Yeah.
from the crowd. It's just
Um,
something he said was interesting.
I mean, I'll let Tal maybe finish and we can
No.
wrap up accordingly. And
Continue.
okay, I mean, wrapping up together with the gentleman here, let's look at it with a few simple words. The law that was there, the instructions that were there, the requirements that were there before, they're still here now. The law is the same. Okay, and of course these things can be detailed by each and every one of the providers here that you see. Secondly, when you go through a paper-based process to apply, the whole bottom line of the whole process is transparency. There's no national discriminations in it, no business discriminations, etc. But the picture, the basic point is transparency. And I'm not going to get into details of costs and fees, left, right, center. Transparency is the key word. Transparency as to what you want to do and why. Transparency as to how you intend to structure this. And here it's nice that you explain how you will structure it, whereas certain regulators actually require you to have it almost structured before, some other regulators in other countries, have it structured before getting a license. Here in Cyprus, you get a license through a paperwork process first, and then get into expenses to set up. Up to transparency, again, I'm using again that word, to the level of who owns this, how will he fund it, okay, to a reasonable level. Speaking of a reasonable level, everybody here are respectable gentlemen and ladies that have a business that might be unrelated to Forex or related to Forex. Okay, you are free to speak out with your consultant. This is the picture and we're going to present it accordingly to CySec. So I just
Okay.
wanted to recap here.
Thank you. So, I want to jump back and I want to address this specifically to Tal, Mr. Ron, if you will. Tal, all right. The advantages of working and risks, working, what are the advantages and risks of working without regulation?
Well, that's a tricky question.
Because it sounds like there's a little bit of a process that you have to go through up to 6 months and yada, yada. I
Yeah.
don't want to do it. What's my
Okay,
risk?
so you're asking me, perhaps because, as many of our clients or, Israeli, they have lots of, they have a variety of which license to get, if at all. Okay, so as we said, if the top end is the British license, and I think not far from that, there's the CISEC license, which one of the main advantages is that they still give you the FSA registration number and the compatibility with MiFID. There is lower levels of regulation, like Belize, the Belize IFSC. There's so-called regulations like New Zealand and all the stuff, and there's places that have without regulation. Now, it still can be a risky business. Forex is a risky business. Binary options are risky stuff, but
It says it on the disclaimer.
yeah, it is a disclaimer. It is a disclaimer, such as one written in the website. However, if you do it correctly, let's say structured in a jurisdiction where FX is until now not regulated, such as British Anguilla, which is near BVI but not in BVI. It's a place with 10,000 citizens, and if you craft your structure specifically and do it in a special way, you can actually do this type of businesses without avoiding the law, without going and contradicting the law. So this is still, it's a risk, because still if you steal the client can always sue you. But we see more and more people who just want to start their business and don't have these amount of funds to capitalize the size of company. So they do on an unregulated venture, but in places like British Anguilla or St. Vincent. We currently do not see new companies going on the BVI or on Belize or Seychelles, because like BVI have a blacklist, and they now, if you are a broker operating from BVI, the BVI will catch you. Belize have their own blacklist with the IFSC, which actually states names of brokers. And a broker, if you work without regulation in places like that, it will be Googled and find out specifically. Seychelles has the same issue. So at the end of the day, I think that people either will go on regulation like CISEC, which CISEC gives a very good regulation, and I agree with most of the advantages that these gentlemen said, or an FSA if people has a deep pocket, or go on an unregulated version on light regulation, such as British Anguilla or St. Vincent, until they have enough funds and move on to the more regulated phase.
I need to clarify something on the international level where we focus a lot on the international perspective. The point that our colleague Tal said, I don't expect Belize and Seychelles to do this or that, and he mentioned certain blacklist. The point is not that a legitimate newcomer to do something there is thrown out or he shouldn't go there. The blacklist refers to entities that, for one or the other reason, that particular regulator, because they did something maybe in Belize, put them on a blacklist. So it means that entity, instead of going to Belize and getting the proper license, they went to Belize and were doing cowboy stuff. So if they get on the blacklists there or in any other place, definitely it's going to be more tough for them to get the license they should have done from the first place there. So we are not here telling you that those places are not a solution that are blacklisted, but we are telling you that for those brokers that are on the blacklists, many options are closing down. And that's very reasonable, I believe.
But CISEC is open for business, so you might as well just start here first, right?
They check the repute and the background. Doesn't mean that a cowboy from everywhere in the world will arrive and be successful in CISEC. They have the means to know where someone is coming from.
And look, CISEC may not be, convenient for everybody. People who do not intend to operate in Europe, maybe they don't need CISEC. Maybe you need Belize. Maybe you need,
Moon.
But there's risk, and we're trying to alleviate risk.
It's not risky to go with
I think
Belize license.
I think the broker has to do a trade-off between some more administration and compliance cost versus giving more trustworthy and most legitimacy to the clients. And
Okay.
I think the clients get some trust if they give their money to a broker who is regulated. This is the issue.
Okay.
Something
As I said-
important.
as I said,
Something important to be said about the offshore licenses, let's say. It's operationally wise, it's becoming harder to operate because
The
If you
talent
want to-
pool is
because-
not there for
Sorry?
one. The talent pool is not there for one. I think I heard this from Alpari.
banks, for example, most banks now in the world, they won't open a bank account to an FX broker who is unregulated or even regulated in an offshore jurisdiction. That's a major problem because you can't receive money from your client, you can't do business.
There are solutions.
There are, of course, but also if you want to access and get clients from Europe, US, Japan, major jurisdictions, that is almost impossible or can be done up to a certain limit of time until they catch you. And once they catch you with an unregulated, unlicensed or unregulated or even an offshore license, they can either block your website, for example. We've seen it many times. For example, in Italy, this is happening a lot lately. In US again. And if you don't conform also to their instructions, they can also proceed with legal proceedings against you. So
Okay,
there
so-
is a trade-off.
There's
There
a
is
trade-off, and
Yes.
you wanted to.
as I said, it's a client-driven business again. So the clients decide. If the majority of the clients now wants to deposit their money with regulated entities, they will look for a regulated entity. If there is a market that the clients do not have the awareness and they are willing to deposit in unregulated entities, as Angelo said, there are solutions for banking, then they can do unregulated. But then there is everything is about risk. High risk, high return. Low risk, more stable return. So it's a matter of the business person to decide.
All right.
What is said now regarding the languages was very important. The issue of the languages. If
Gentlemen, can someone get a microphone out in the audience, please?
Yeah, Italy has had a recent problem, but you know there's also people in Switzerland who speak Italian. Okay, the AMF or Bank of France in France don't have a monopoly on the use of the French language. Okay, so if you have an unregulated broker using the French language, he can get letters from the AMF. But if he's not using, the .fr and he's not catering specifically for French clients, it's a different issue. But I can agree with what's said here that on a marketing perspective, from a client point of view, when you have some kind of regulation, even some kind of light regulation or a legal opinion that company is not forbidden from doing this kind of business, it's better. And I think this is what most of the
Understood.
people are.
Question.
Okay.
Stand
My name
up.
is
Let us see you.
Do you hear me?
I can't see you though. All right.
Hello to everyone. I want to ask you one simple question. For you, CIF in Cyprus, Cyprus investment firm regulated in Cyprus, it's when you approach other jurisdiction, for them you are offshore company or no?
Of course not.
It
I
depends.
didn't see it, I'm sorry.
It depends which jurisdiction you operate.
In Europe.
In Europe, no.
No,
Outside Europe.
I'm sorry,
depends.
I saw different approach.
What did you
From
see?
many banks, they have required me to sign for them when I open account or some transfers. They required me to sign some papers explaining why I'm transferring funds from an offshore jurisdiction called Cyprus.
The
And I am
problem is the
regulated.
banks.
It's bank's problem, not the jurisdiction.
No.
But it's the reputation.
But this is what I want to say.
Yeah.
They still look at you in Cyprus as an offshore company. Very simple. And when you make transfer, it's for them like
Where was that?
Okay,
if
let's-
we may ask?
Baileys, or like you are transferring funds from BVI that I need to sign and confirm them. This is
Which
weird.
bank?
So-
Where was that experience that you had?
Leave it to me.
Why?
Least
Okay.
I could
Hey,
say
we
the
can't leave
country.
it to you. You
Share
just
it.
totally bashed everything they said, and you're like, leave it to me, I'll tell you later.
Maybe
That's
if you
not-
mention the country, that would
I'll tell you
enlighten
the
us.
country.
Yes,
Hungary.
please.
Hungary.
Hungary, okay. Hungary
Okay.
eat turkey, okay. So please take this offline with him and please address this. I do believe this is something that needs to be cared for.
We do understand why you felt like mentioning it. I respect your concern and your problem. It's definitely not pleasant to have such experience.
Correct.
However, please kindly understand that that particular bank is a private business, and I can assume that this instruction, this request, most likely didn't come from the central bank of that country or the regulator of that bank to tell them, you know, all you banks in Hungary treat Cyprus like that. So most likely this private-oriented policy of the bank itself is something that I know it has frustrated you, I understand, and it's not something that I can comment on. Yes, please.
All this happened only after the 15th of March. Those questions suddenly start to raise for all these transfers. And in addition, when I wanted, for example, in that specific country to open additional accounts, I had with them about 6 accounts with the same bank. The question was the same idea, and they stopped me. And unofficially, they said, we are really sorry, but we received from the head of the central bank to calm down, not to open account, not to do anything now.
Okay, I would say that's probably an
Yeah,
isolated
I mean, I'll give you
So
another.
the-
I'll give you another example in a
we can-
separate
we-
business.
But we can,
When the crisis happened, they suddenly look
We-
at you as an offshore company,
no.
that they want to treat you very,
No.
very carefully.
No, it's not. It's not. This is the perception. But this is not the case, and we can take it offline if you like. But as my colleague said, there are private institutions. They have no. They are not obliged to accept any business, and if they want to deny a business, they can say whatever they want to say. But but at the end of the day, it cannot be an official statement, and. If it's, we can take it offline. I can give you explanation of why this is happening, because they have the risk management department, have their compliance department, and they have the legal means to support their position if they want to. So we can discuss it if you want and give you the explanations.
Your executive said why people don't move from here. Because you can feel it from around different jurisdictions that they are trying to, like you said, make their risk management and stop you from doing or moving from here to somewhere else.
Now you went to a totally different level
Okay,
of
okay,
moving
okay.
the
I'm
business.
sorry, I
so
need to interrupt.
it's
Let's
a-
take it offline because I think this is a great
Okay, okay.
conversation, but not one for all of these folks. And according to my sign here, I have less than 2 minutes left. So 10 seconds each. 10 seconds each. Parting thoughts, right? Final thoughts. Starting with Tom. Something that these guys would be interested in. Yes?
I think that Cyprus is still an interesting opportunity, despite the reputation that I heard here from the gentleman, which sometimes some of the clients share. It still have very good advantages. You should always consider if you want to work regulated and which regulation, or work unregulated with legal opinions to back you. And I think that at the end of the day, the good brokers will succeed with their best solution.
Alexandros.
Yes, I think, as it was said many times in this panel, Cyprus has proven all resilient in this crisis. It still have all the benefits it had before. But what I want to add, since this is a regulation panel,
You don't have time, sir. You
yes,
got 2
no,
seconds.
it's just 2 seconds. We have to also consider what's coming up in terms of regulation in Europe for those who are already established. And there is a lot of things that come up, and it will be good also to
It's enough.
have another
Another panel.
panel for that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I agree with this. There is a flow of regulation coming from the European Union. However, I believe this is manageable.
Give him your mic.
What I would say is that Cyprus is still doing business as used to do. Nothing changed. What happened was two banks have been one basically has been bankrupt. This is what it is. Business Cyprus remains as used to be, and it intends to be progressive as well.
Great.
That's all.
There are difficulties and challenges across the globe. It's not just Cyprus. Problems show up through private institutions, problems show up through governments, etc., etc. In Cyprus in particular, if you want to understand today, put a list down, put those 15 points that are plus, the 4, 6, 10 that might you think are minus, discuss them, analyze them, you will see it's still not everyone has a business somewhere just because of banks, because of many reasons. And I hope that you understand that what we all said here is not because we tell you we are very wiser today after the problems, after the shocking events, but risk management, proper planning, good advice happens before, and you anticipate. I can have surprises and I can have control
Sorry,
problems.
Kostas.
Yeah, thank you very much.
What I'm saying to clients is think short term and long term. Short term, you have the Cyprus investment firm. We have solutions. We have the solution to go to UK and work through your Cyprus investment firm as usual. Then you have time to consider, and then you will decide whether you want to move, whether you want to stay, or whether you want to grow more. That's all.
All right. Gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to thank you very, very much for attending.
Thank you.
They are all here. They're all here for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
If you have any questions for them, please stop by their booth or stop them on their way. Thank you, gentlemen.